Hey everybody, checking back in for another video here. This one's going to be all about measures. This is all about measures. So let's take a look and jump in. First of all this is happening on our musical staff. To talk about measures, it might be a good idea to put the idea in your mind of a house. So if you can just see a house and imagine a house having walls, and between those walls are rooms. That's going to help us with thinking about measures. So let's pick these first two walls. There's a wall on the left and a wall on the right. I've turned them red. Between those two walls is an area we'll call a room. All right, so that's room number one. Now we can take those two walls, and there's another red one and another red one. Now there's two middle walls, and in between those two walls is room number two. So we've got our house, and in our house we have walls, and between those walls are rooms. Let's take those two walls and call that room number three. So we have our house, we have three rooms. These three rooms are separated by these red walls. The rooms are the space in between. Now, in music, we don't talk about rooms, we talk about measures. So instead of calling each of those areas between the walls rooms, we'll call them measures. So we have measure 1, measure 2, and measure 3. We took away room 1, 2, and 3, and we're now calling them measure 1, measure 2, and measure 3. Now that you have that house picture in your mind, let's get rid of the house idea and just look at it as it would be on the musical staff. We have some lines. The black lines going up and down are called our measure lines. Instead of calling them walls, let's call them measure lines. They're also called bars or bar lines sometimes, but I tend to call them measure lines. And the space between measure lines are measures. So there you go, measure 1, measure 2, measure 3. Just like a house has rooms, a musical staff has measures. And just put a little picture here of what that might look like in a song format. We have some musical notes here in a room. Again, on the musical staff, we'll call it a measure. And then that measure has a wall. So that wall is the end of measure number 1. And on the other side of that measure line is another measure. That would be our measure number 2, and the end of that measure number 2 is the next red measure line. All right, so just keep that idea in your head as we continue to talk more and learn more about measures on our musical staff. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you again soon in your next video.